another edition of my Love Black People Pan-African History. My name is Awod Ngwenya. For those who joined us for the first time, I'll be the moderator for this meeting, and then hosting the meeting with me is our sister Yvonne Dushime. She's in Rwanda, in Kigali. I hear that most parts of Africa were facing electricity issues, electricity going on and off. So it can also affect a number of participants on these meetings, and also the data issues. As always, we have a lot of people. We have more than 7,000 people on our WhatsApp groups, and also 80K followers on Facebook. But unfortunately, these days we usually had 170 people on call on Zoom, but these days we only having around 70 people who come on Zoom, and all they say is network issues. Some of the time they get disruption during the meetings. The internet can't allow them to stay for long. So that's the greater issues which we having around. So we're trying to figure out a way whereby we have everyone to get to listen to our Zoom meetings, and also to get access to our Zoom meeting in a cheaper way. So I appreciate all of our speakers who are on this meeting. Before we start the meeting, I would like to welcome all our country spokespersons and appreciate all of your work which you are doing as well. I know you are all volunteering with this mission. We appreciate all of you on this call as well. Thank you. So to start off the meeting, we have our brother Frederick. I see Frederick just stood up. So we have our brother Ifesnachi, all the way from Nigeria. So Ifesnachi will start by praying with his own native language, indigenous language. So yes, our brother Ifesnachi. Yeah, thank you. Katie Mafia, I can see you gave us a suggestion, and yeah, we'll try Telegram next time. Hopefully it's free for everyone here in Africa, so we'll try it so that you will see if we have everyone to participate. Yes, brother Ifesnachi, I will come to our Zoom call.
Okay, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So you can go ahead, pray in your own indigenous language, then you give us a quick report.
Okay. Chukwu abịa ma anyị ekene gị maka ihe ọma i mere n'ụbọchị nke taa, isi wee nye aka anyị eweke up in peace, wee nọrọkwa wee bịakwa meeting in peace. Anyị na-arịọ ka anyị mee ya n'udo na enwere nsogbu ọbụla, na-ayọ biko ka ị meere anyị ebumnobi anyị na-abụrọ njọ, etu ilu anyị si wee dị iche iche na etu aka nkwa anyị si wee dị iche iche, n'aha Chukwu okike abịa ma ise. Hello.
Amen. Thank you. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Yes, I'm done with my native language.
Okay, thank you. So you can go ahead, introduce yourself, and give us the speech for today.
My name is Ifesnachi Uroko, a country speaker representing Nigeria. So I thank everybody on board the meeting because it is not easy. So we appreciate your effort. Today I will be speaking on the forthcoming election in Nigeria. You see, Nigeria as a country conducts her election every 4 years. And the last election was conducted in 2019. So the next one is forthcoming this 2023, February 23rd, 2023. So currently, the political environment is very, very tense in Nigeria. You see, especially now that it seems a Messiah is trying to change the political narrative of Nigeria, because as usual, you know, I think it's the same thing with almost all the whole African countries, but here in Nigeria, during elections, we only have even though we have a lot of political parties, like in this coming election, we'll have 18 presidential candidates, but it is only 2 that is being well mainstreamed. You know, it's only two that people knows about, which is PDP and political and APC. And these two parties are the parties that started this the Fourth Republic of Nigeria, because currently we are in the Fourth Republic, which started in 1999. So these two parties are the parties that started the Fourth Republic democracy, you see, and since then they have been dominating the political arena. So as it is, you know, they don't deliver normally. They don't deliver in their campaign promises. So the common masses are already fed up. They are fed up with the two political parties. So even normally, as the election is approaching, before the emergence of this third force called the Labour Party, the people of Nigeria have already lost hope and faith in election processes. So it is now that we'll have a third force. This guy, they call him P2B. He once contested under PDP, that's one of the two political parties, in 2019 as a vice president. But to God may have it, he defected to Labour Party, which is the party of the laborers, of the common man. So currently, we are hoping that the third force is going to change the political narrative of Nigeria, because the common masses is strongly standing in his back. That's the hope of the common masses. Why the elites have been divided into two. One group of the elites is supporting the ruling party, which is APC, and the other group is supporting the opposition party, which is PDP. But the Labour Party is gaining the support of the common masses. So we are hoping that by the grace of God, at the end of the election, that the will of the people will prevail. You see? So, but in my own opinion, you know, the democracy will practice all over Africa. I don't think it's something that is working. So, in my own opinion, I think we should look and so many other means to know if we can get Africa working again. You see, so I'll stop here for the sake of time, and I urge everybody on board, and people that are not on board too, your friends, your family, to help spread this awareness, so that people can get to know about I Love Black People and the I Love Black People Green Book, which is a book that compiles the safe places for all the Black people around the globe. So I urge you to download the app, make recommendations, and share it with families and friends. Thank you very much. I am because you are.
I am because you are. Thank you so much. As a brother Ifesinachi, you didn't announce who won the elections, or the results are not still yet out.
Okay, you see, the election will be taking place on 23rd February 2023. That's when we'll be going to the polling unit to vote.
All right.
And the results will be out the same week, maybe a day after the election, because you see, we have upgraded to electoral transmission of results, which is what is giving the poor man and the poor masses hope. You see?
All right. Thank you so much for the update and for letting us know what is transpiring in Nigeria. Thank you so much, one of the largest countries in the continent. We appreciate that, Brother Ifesinachi. Thank you again, brother, for letting everyone know that we have an edition, latest edition of the I Love Black People Green Book coming on for the 2023 edition. Thank you again. We appreciate you. And moving forward, we're going to have our brother Frederick Lysias to present on behalf of people of Namibia. It has been long. Brother Ifesinachi was writing his exams, but now he's done. And also more to come. Brother Ifesinachi, Brother Frederick, is also an artist. He's in the middle of compiling his album. And in his album, you also include a song about love Black people and all of you in support for the movement. Thank you. Yes, you can unmute yourself, Brother Frederick.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Hope everybody is doing well there. My name is Frederick Lysias, and I'm representing from Namibia. Firstly, I want to greet all my respective co-founders and all the members. I welcome you all for the opportunity right now. Today, I'm going to tackle more about the problem statement of Africa. So here we go. I'm going to mention some of them. This start with like the media propaganda, the inheritance laws, institution and politics. The third one, out of context education systems, foreign debts and aids economic or foreign health system or foreign food production system, plus foreign settlement systems. Those are the problem of statement of Africa, but here I just mentioned some of them. I'm going to start with overview. I Love Black People is voluntary association organization dedicated to helping African people building institutions that process questions that affect their lives all over the world. Africans are not respected in Africa. Abroad, every day we see African lives do not matter, and it raises questions. Like in UK, UK will create platforms and organize ways to deal with problems that affect our day-to-day lives. When we succeed, our member would have to create more effective ways to understand problems and protect Africa from economic sabotage, foreign occupational exploitation of our resources, abuse of our people world over, and build state of Africa. Here I'm going to start with the missions. Our mission is to see one state of Africa. Secondly, a safer Africa. Number 3, a healthier Africa. Number 4, Africa uncompromised education system that answer our need. And the following one is any independent Africa free from outside interference. Free indigenous poverty. And free from indigenous debits that lead exploitation of our resources and occupation of our continent. So here we have a lot of them. I just want to make it short clear. Let me run quickly to the values. We embrace the following values. They reflect and support our mission and guide our decision actions, provision of services. Social, responsible, inclusive, and dedication to be healthy, just competitive communication. We also include the creation of wealth for individual and businesses and communities. Advancement of both development of one Africa state, citizens, cooperation and collaboration. Diversity of tolerance, equity, innovation and confidence. Now, secondly, I'm gonna say more about the objective. The areas of objectives like from UK are outside the constitution that include the following. UK long-term effective and growth in changing, challenging. Environment depend on the higher impact leadership of the UK Assembly that continuously answer the 3 critical. We would be had and what should it become over the long term? What should be now in the short terms? Developing policy advance the African society on problem solving, economic development and services clearly housed for information on healthy food, educational, social, economic problem and solutions. We also include the foster the exchange of idea experience and offer person engaged in developing local, regional, state, province scale, and entire continent of any community. I thanks for this. I think I'm just going to end for now here. I'm encouraging everybody to download the app and to share with the family and to show the loves and respects. I think so much. As my brother said that I'm also an artist, so I'm busy still trying to compose a song for I Love Black People. So you guys, I hope this is going to be nice. I am because thank you so much.
I am because you are. Thank you so much, brother Frederick Lysias. And also, you do have a question in the chat room. So I think you can respond in the chat room. That's to cut the time, and you are out of time. So I think you can reply Katie Smithy in the chat room.
All right.
And
All
also
right.
to those who would like to assist or to give anything, any advice on what the song should be like to Frederick Lysias, will also reach out to him, and you can reach out to my WhatsApp and also for his number, and he can also drop his phone number to assist him with his music, lyrical content, if you have any idea of what Frederick Lysias should sing about. Thank you so much again, brother. We do appreciate you so much. Yes, and now we're going to have our brother from Sierra Leone. His name is Brother Muhammad Samba Kamara. Thank you so much for the support, for the love, and for the, yes, I can see, brother. Yes, brother Muhammad, how are you?
I am doing fine.
All right, thank you. I thought you having some network challenges. Thank you. You can go ahead and introduce yourself, and also you can present.
Okay. Despite I'm trying to do video, but I want to take this opportunity, like, to thank you all, and also for setting the stage. Okay. For me, I Love Black People platform is very, very, very important as far as I'm concerned. And me being part of this platform or this meeting, I see it as a blessing, particularly in telling our stories or giving updates about our country. You know, the aim and objective of all I understood about I Love Black People to me is very, very important. Okay, if I can give a proper introduction, my name is Mohamed Kamara. I'm also an artist known as Lux in J. And I'm happy about brother also, who is an artist. Perhaps it's high time we can do something together. You know, we can collaborate in promoting a song or either doing a song together. But I Love Black People like concept. So if it's possible, then we can work on it. If it's not, then, you know, no problem. But I think it's a great idea, and I love that. Okay, so for me, I want to give an update, particularly like what is going on in Sierra Leone with the election. Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. We can go ahead. And we are out of time, so try to be fast. And also, I'll link you with our brother Lysias Frederick in order to help him with this project.
Okay. So for us, there was a huge fight in the Parliament of Sierra Leone, because for next year we'll be having a general election, and the electoral system they want to use, you know, from the general election will be based on the proportional representation electoral system instead of the first past the post system that we normally use. So the electoral commissioner Mohamed Kone has already introduced that through the directive of the president. But people are framing that because they don't want that exactly to happen, because that system called for where there is no constituencies. And now we have over 50 or 60 constituencies. And then we want to impose such system in this coming election in 2022. So there was huge fight in Parliament. The Parliament, to me, continuing this fight, you know, it's not inspiring, particularly for them as leaders or people that we look up to, you know, people that are formulating this kind of policies and so on, you know, all the time keep fighting, because this is not the first time. So we want to see how best to settle this issue because it's cut across Africa. I've been watching from South Africa as well. I saw the same thing, fighting in the parliament and so on and so forth. But I think this is something that we should stop, especially there are young people, kids also looking at us from that perspective. And if we are to take up leadership, it's from what we got from those leaders or those that are leading us now. So it's very important. And also I would love to buttress on what my brother said in terms of enlightening our people about I Love Black Africa and the initiative, and also to help spread the word so that we protect our brothers and sisters, especially in areas that are of xenophobia, that are of racism, attack, and so on and so forth. It pains me a lot to see we the people, the Black people, or the Africans ourselves, creating that kind of hate for our own brother.
Yes, brother Muhammad.
Places you see Black people discriminating against themselves. I think we should try to do such.
Yes, brother Muhammad.
I know time is against us, but I want to thank you all for giving me this opportunity, and I would like to collaborate with anyone that wants to do the song together with my brother, and that will be fine. Thank you. God bless you, and I look forward to hear from you.
God bless you too. Thank you so much. That was Brother Muhammad Samba Kamara giving us an update on what's going on in Sierra Leone and the tension between the government and the issues going on there. Thank you so much. Again, we are launching our latest edition of our Green Books very soon. So we'd like you to participate and to contribute as well. And know some of you contributed via email, answering questions and also providing information which was required in the survey, which was done on emails and also on WhatsApp. We appreciate all of you for the support and the love you are giving us. And also, we're going next up to have Nana Akua to teach us about the healthcare lecture. And also, if you'd like to receive a shout out from Nana Akua, she loves to see happy faces of Black people all over the world. So you should turn on your camera so that you'll be able to receive a shout out from Nana Akua. Yes, Nana Akua, welcome to the healthcare lecture.
Thank you. Peace, everyone. Yes, I love to see the beautiful Black faces. Men, y'all know y'all beautiful too, right? Right. Good guy, and I love to see a smiling Black man. Look at Frederick is smiling. So peace, everybody. Hey, Ivana Ward, Ifa Sanate. You got my email, I hope. Finally, I was delayed, right? Emery and Prince and Chaplain Clyde. I see my brother Haki is on. He don't have his camera on though, but that's my friend in real life. So did I get everyone? Wonderful. So thank you all for joining us. Oh, Haki came on. Hey, Haki. So today we are going to talk about the second part of nutrition. We started last week talking about micronutrients and macronutrients, and I have been preparing some boxes to ship to Ghana, and I was at my office and I found some information. So we're going to kind of go off script a little bit. Decades ago when I was studying, I used to make these note cards, right? This is how I would study. And I would just attach all this information, and I would make these little boxes with all kinds of information. They were sort of my cheat notes. It was how I studied. I don't know what people these days that don't use pen and paper and always everything is electronic, there's no way I could do it. Even now, I still want, my planner or my calendar, I want to be able to write on it. That's just me. Even though I could put my schedule in my phone and I could set alerts, I'm trying to do that, right? But it is not as good for me as writing it on an actual calendar. So I came across some information that I really want to share. I had organized some things in a particular way. And of course, when trying to give information so that you'll have it, so that you can see it, refer back to it, study later, I really tried pulling a lot of the information in an easy format to where you can keep the flyer handy, keep the handouts handy. Even, where my book? Where you could even put it, you know, in a spiral binding, you know, where you, y'all see that? Y'all see me? She cute or whatever. Y'all know that's me, right? Okay. Y'all didn't miss that part. But even if you wanted to combine all of the papers, all of the handouts together, right? So I tried to just make it to where you have handouts, but I'm going to stray from that today. And I'm going to just teach off of some of my little cheat cards that I had created a long time ago. So we spoke about what nutrients are last week. We spoke about carbohydrates. We talked about fats. We talked about proteins. We talked a little bit about water because I think we had a little extra time. And so what we didn't go over yet are the micronutrients, vitamins and minerals. So, and if I can share the screen, I think I have it pulled up if I am able. So I will show that, but I want to really go from that today. And I want to share about what vitamins and nutrients, vitamins and minerals nourish the different body organs and systems. So I want to have on display on the screen what the different vitamins and minerals do and what the recommended dosage for these are, but I want to kind of do it in explanation of what is good for each of our organs, right? So, because I get different emails or questions about different conditions. What I'd like to focus on today is just how you can heal or treat, these are words I really shouldn't be using, how you can take care of your organs and the different body systems with different foods, herbs, vitamins, minerals, things of that nature. So while you have in front of you, and hold on one second. Okay, forgive me. Oh, I had to turn my heat down. I was about to scorch in here. So while you see here on the screen what each of the vitamins and minerals do and the sources, I want to talk specifically about what we can do to get these different systems back in balance. So we've talked previously about the 5 paths of elimination, right? And so I'll focus on those. We've kind of spoken a little bit about each of these things, but let me start there and then we'll get into some other parts. Because if you're having a health challenge, you can also start with sort of a natural regimen for yourself in terms of giving it good nutrition, good foods, good supplementation, things of that nature, by knowing whatever condition you're battling with, what organ or system is affected by that condition. So let's talk about the lungs, right? So we know that there are tons and tons and tons of herbs. And I think even previously in handouts that I've had have probably not touched the surface of how you can help the lungs and the bronchioles. But basically we know that the function of the lungs, right, the respiratory system, is for oxygenation. We know that it eliminates carbon dioxide, it regulates acid-base balance in the body. You know, the other thing, I came across some information about acid. And I'll try to make note to fit that in as well, because there's so many things. And part of this lecture is there's a handout on alkaline forming and acid forming foods. And I'll make sure we get to that because that's so important, because the body spends a lot of time trying to fight off acid, but at the same time, we're putting back in acid forming foods, right? So one consideration for a type of diet to follow may not just be trying to eliminate meat and being vegetarian, even though we know some people need to focus on eliminating sugar, we also can consider focusing on eliminating acid forming foods or other situations that cause acid, right? We know stress causes acid in different types of food. So there are certain things that we can do to improve our diet, and it's not just eliminating meat. But let me get back to the respiratory system. So we know that foods that help the respiratory system: garlic, onions, leeks, turnips, grapes, pineapples, eucalyptus, honey, green leafy vegetables. We know that vitamins like A, C, D, B complex, inositol, choline, folic acid, these are minerals. And then I think I skipped over vitamin E and F. These are all vitamins, I'm sorry. And then minerals like calcium, iron, silicon, manganese, potassium, copper, fluorine. These are all good for the lungs and the respiratory system in general. We know that herbs like mullein, elderflowers, peppermint, yarrow, lobelia, comfrey, cayenne, marshmallow root, sage, these are all great for the respiratory system if you're talking about herbs. And then there are so many other, too many to name. But then now let's go to the reproductive system, right? And I want to use this in incorporating in vitamins and minerals, but then some specific things that will include foods and herbs as well. So we know the reproductive system would be the testes, the ovaries, sperm, ova, mammaries, these glands. All of this is part of the male and female reproductive system. And of course, we know it's responsible for reproduction. We know that foods that will feed and heal the reproductive system are sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, lecithin, egg yolks, raw goat's milk, codfish, drinks like black cherry, concentrate, chlorophyll, pineapple juice, wheat germ, carrot juice, coconut milk, things like that. We know that B vitamins, vitamins E, A, C, D, F, all of these are good vitamins. Minerals such as zinc, calcium, iodine, phosphorus, iron, sodium, potassium, fluorine, all of these are excellent minerals that are specific to healing the reproductive system. Herbs that are good are black cohosh, licorice, dongqua, ginseng, blessed thistle, blue cohosh, uva ursi, raspberry, squaw vine, chickweed, saw palmetto, false unicorn, raspberry. And of course, depending on whether we're talking about male or female, these would vary. Specifically, the ones for female reproductive organs are the uva ursi, raspberry, licorice, dongqua, black cohosh. Specifically for the male reproductive organs, chickweed, ginseng, saw palmetto, raspberry, yohimbe is another sort of popular one. You would have to watch your blood pressure with that one. But we know that for varying situations, we could add to this list. There are different issues that I think most people are always interested, especially as we age, we're interested in what will give us more vitality. So we always want those that are strengthening our systems, enhancing our systems, things of that nature. But usually you want to start with the overall health of the system in general. and then be more specific to whatever your particular issue may be. As your libido lowers, there are things to enhance that. If you want to go longer or stronger, all of these things I think are very important. And it's a matter though of being on the baseline of just healing and having healthy functioning organs, and then addressing those more specific issues. If we're talking about the nervous system, we know that this includes the brain, the spinal cord, the nerves, sensory organs like the eyes and the ears, right? And we know that the function is to regulate through the nerve impulses, sensory perception, motor responses, things of that nature. So the nervous system. And we often talk about that in regards to stress and response to stress. But we know that it can be greater than that. But foods that help with the nervous system: egg yolks, kale, celery, fish, raw goat's milk, cod, rice, brewers, and nutritional yeast. We know that drinks like celery, carrot, and prune juice, black cherry juice, almond milk, or almond, well, it's saying sunflower or almond butter, but drinks that you're mixing up with these items can be healthy for the nervous system. And we know that nuts and seeds are also considered healing to the nervous system in general. Vitamins such as the B family, A, C, D, E, minerals like calcium, manganese, sulfur, iodine, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, zinc, fluorine, all of these are good for the nervous system as well. And then the herbs that we've spoken before in terms of being nervine or sedative herbs, we know are good for the nervous system, like valerian, hops, skullcap, lobelia, lady slipper, black haw, St. John's wort, wood bethany, lemon balm, hawthorn. There are many that heal the nervous system. Moving on to the muscular system, and let me scroll down here so you can look at the next chart if you're looking. And we know that the muscular system, we know that these are all structures, all muscular tissue in the body, right? We know that this facilitates the body movement, production of heat, maintenance of body posture, right? And we know that foods that are good for the muscular system are olives, lima beans, rye, rice bran, bananas, sprouts, watercress, and certain grains and legumes, as well as apples. Vitamins such as vitamin B complex, B12, some other B family vitamins, D, E, A, that was funny, C, as well as biotin. Then minerals like calcium, potassium, magnesium, chlorine, iron, and silicon. And then the herbs that we know are supportive to the muscular system are things like juniper berry, rosemary, tansy, black willow, horseradish, wild cabbage, kelp, dulse, watercress, horsetail, and black walnut. And let's talk about the blood system, right? So we know that, what did I do? I did something to my screen. Hopefully you can still see my screen. Yeah. I hit something.
You can still see.
What do you see, Eva? I'm always hitting something and messing myself up. But anyway, as long as you can still see it. So we know that the blood system will involve the entire body, because we know that the blood flows throughout the body. But we also know from our previous lectures that anything that is cleansing the blood is also healing and cleansing the liver as well. So we know that in this regard, vitamins that are good for the blood system are going to be A, B complex, B6, B12, B2, B1, folic acid, niacin, E, F, and K, We know that minerals like copper, cobalt, iodine, iron, magnesium, manganese, potassium, zinc, and others are all going to be useful and supportive for the blood. And then herbs like tansy, buckwheat, oat straw, white oak bark, kelp, yarrow, cayenne, hawthorn are all good for the blood system. Let's talk about the heart now. I know, yeah, circulatory system. So let's talk about the circulatory system. So we know that this includes the heart, the blood vessels, and blood. Well, so this kind of falls under, but this a little more specific here. And this, of course, we know the circulatory system is responsible for distributing oxygen and nutrients to cells, transporting oxygen from also waste, transporting waste from cells, acid-base balance, regulating body temperature, and formation of blood clots, which is important, right? So that we don't bleed out. So it has a number of functions here. The foods that support this system are brewer's yeast, garlic, wheat germ, liquid, chlorophyll, alfalfa sprouts, buckwheat, sun-dried olives, watercress, and rice. We also know that blackberry juice, parsley juice, black fig juice, parsley juice, grape juice, hawthorn berry tea, watercress juice. These are all good drinks that support the circulatory system. Vitamins like B complex, C, and E are excellent for supporting the circulatory system. Calcium, iron, silicon, copper, cobalt, magnesium, iodine, potassium, and others are all good minerals that support the circulatory system. And then herbs like hawthorn berry, cayenne, ginger, garlic, sassafras, burdock, chaparral, echinacea, red clover, and oat straw are good supportive herbs for the circulatory system. If we're talking specifically about the heart, so people who are having cardiovascular disease is a very big issue for a lot of people. We know that heart health is important. So, and depending on our diets, depending on our lifestyle, what part of the world we're from, our stress levels, all of these things can, in fact, impact the heart. So we know that specifically for the heart, certain herbs, we already mentioned hawthorn berries, but cayenne and lobelia are also good for the heart specifically. Blue cohosh, wood betony, motherwort, sorrel, holly thistle, tansy, all of these are good. Peppermint, golden seal, valerian, vervain, these are all good herbs for the heart as well. And let's move on. It's just a couple more that I want to highlight, and then I'll get back into some of the other handouts. Intestinal system. Let's talk about the adrenal glands, or let's talk about the adrenal glands, because, and so this is not an organ, this is a gland. A lot of people want to do more with less sleep, or are concerned about having more energy. Right. And a lot of times people, and we've spoken about this before, right? And I often say that you have to get proper sleep. You cannot function on, not having proper or adequate rest. And when we try to go through and get over with not doing adequate rest of the body, usually what we're doing is we are overloading, and we are burning out the adrenal glands, right? And so we know that the glandular system is made up, right, of several different glands. The adrenal is just one. There's the pineal, the pituitary, the thyroid, there are parathyroids, the thymus, the pancreas, the ovaries, testes, all these are glands. And then of course the adrenals, right? But adrenal overload or adrenal burnout is often the reason that people feel fatigued. They have a lack of energy. Sometimes that ties into combining words, lack of sex drive. And so the adrenal glands are very important. And so specifically with the adrenals, we know that certain vitamins like B complex, B2, B12, folic acid, these are all excellent for healing the adrenal glands. Minerals that are good for the adrenals are potassium, magnesium, phosphorus, iron, calcium, manganese, silicon, and sulfur. Herbs that are good for the adrenals are licorice, lobelia, ginger, and ginseng. And also licorice. I don't know if oh no, I'm still on. I did I mention the herbs? Yes, I did. So I did mention licorice. And so I won't go into all of the other glands, but the adrenals are very important. And so you have to make sure that if you are not sleeping well, you are working on an improved schedule to support more sleep, but also doing those herbs, your B vitamins, your licorice, your other herbs that are going to be supportive of the adrenals while you're getting a better habit or routine of sleeping better and sleeping longer and managing your stress sufficiently. And then the last one I'll mention, and we'll go back, is the skin, because a lot of issues with and around the skin, there are a lot of people who have different types of rashes and breakouts and skin impurities and things of that nature. So we know that the skin is very important. It is our largest organ, right? We know that it is our shield of protection physically, right? And we know that it takes the brunt of a lot of the stuff that we put on our skin, things that we come in contact with in the environment. So the skin is very important. So the vitamins that support the skin are things like A, B complex, B1, 6, and 12, folic acid, niacin, E, D, and F vitamins, minerals like calcium, iron, magnesium, potassium, sulfur, zinc, manganese, and sodium. Herbs such as oat straw, burdock, aloe vera, and comfrey. These are all good supportive herbs for the skin. Also, horsetail is a good one. Comfrey, oh, that is on this list. Aloe vera, okay, that's on that list. I'm looking at a couple of different sources, so I'm trying to give a couple of options. And I also must say, this information is very old and it's very small. So I'm really over here struggling trying to even read all of this. That'll learn me. That'll teach me to just pull out stuff and be trying to read from it. And I don't have my glasses and I didn't look through to see if I can see it. I am selling all myself today. Yes, but some of it is just bad copies. But yes, the rest of it is just, I can't see that well anymore. So let me go back to the handouts here, but I just wanted to share and kind of veer off a little bit from some of the handouts, especially those of you who join us all the time. I wanted to kind of give some different information, but a lot of times I go from these handouts that I have that are just easy to kind of distribute. I already listed a lot of the herbs, but this handout I like, and I actually created this handout. Some of these handouts I just have pulled from other information over the years. This one I created because I wanted to be able to have very clearly and plainly what herbs are high in different vitamins and minerals. And if you were looking at this chart here from the Food and Drug Administration here in the US, it gives mainly some food, mainly meat and dairy options. I like this option for people who would not use or get their sources for some of these vitamins and minerals from those foods. Or if you're in an area where some of those foods are not easily accessible, you may have another option of getting these nutrients from some of these herbs that may be in various parts of the world. So I won't go over this handout. We've done this before. But this just gives you some options of where to get B6, where to get B12, where to get vitamin C, D, E from herbs, where to get herbal sources of magnesium and calcium and iron and things of that nature. When I talked about energy also, when I was talking about the adrenal glands, another thing that's very important when people want to be more active and have more energy, a lot of times, you may think, oh, I'm just out of shape, I don't get enough exercise, or I work too much, or I have a sedentary job and I'm always seated and not moving a lot. It can be all of those things, and it could be some of the more obvious things like your B vitamins are maybe insufficient, but also consider iron. Iron is another mineral that is not always given the credit that it deserves. And you can certainly suffer from low iron and have some fatigue, and it'll make you feel like you're just out of shape and need to maybe exercise more. And while again that may be true, you can also help give yourself a boost by including some of these herbs and foods that will help increase your iron. And so for most people, especially if you're vegetarian or you don't eat certain meats, you are looking for other ways to boost your iron. And that's not always easy, especially for vegans and for some vegetarians. So we know we can get it in green leafy vegetables or dark green vegetables, but others may not consume things like organ meats and liver and other meats like that. So there are a number of herbs that you can also get a high amount of iron from. So they are listed here. Your nettle is one of my favorites, alfalfa, if I had to choose from this list. Kelp is also good. Burdock, these are really good options for iron. But I want to skip down. And I'll take, so we know that there are different types of diets you can follow. And I think I kind of addressed that. So I won't go over the raw food diet or the juicing or the macrobiotic diet. I talked a little bit already about alkaline diets. I think that this is something for many of us to aspire to. We really want to consume more foods that are going to keep us properly pH balanced. And most of us will eat too many acid forming foods. And let me show you this chart that gives us an idea of what foods are on the alkaline side and what foods are on the acid forming side, right? So we know that what we consider high foods, and I don't even know what EDAM is, I don't even know what that is, but we know that eggs, mayonnaise, certain fish, bacon, beef, other meats, lamb, veal, liver, chicken, these are more acid forming foods, right? And then we have sort of what's considered medium, moderate acid forming foods, right? Certain nuts, Brazil nuts, walnuts, cheddar cheese, certain types of fish like herring and mackerel, things of that nature. Certain grains that are higher acid like rice, wheat, oats, rye. And then even some fruits like your plums and cranberries. What we really want to be focused on is this other side of the chart, right? Of the high alkaline forming foods. So foods like rhubarb, dried fruit is on this list. The only thing I would say about dried fruit is that it's going to have a higher sugar content. So you'll still want to be cautious with that and not overdo it. But then things like spinach and potatoes and carrots, beets, avocado, same thing. They'll have higher glycemic contents, but in balance and in moderation. But these are what's considered on the higher end of the alkaline forming foods. And then in our moderate level here, almonds, coconut, milk, beans, cabbage, celery, lentils, lettuce, mushrooms, onions, root vegetables, tomatoes, apricots, apples, bananas, berries, cherries, so many of these things. This is more so what you want to fill your diet with. What we generally say is 70% alkaline forming foods and only 30% of acid forming foods. Now, if you can perfect that and get closer to, mainly alkaline forming foods, great. But at the very least, if you're doing a 70-30, that is going to be ideal. So predominantly 70% of alkaline forming foods, 30% of those other foods. And I would even put neutral in that category. And as we've already discussed when we talked about fats and oils, margarine here, again, these are handouts I just get from places. I don't support everything or personally use or take in all of the things that are listed here. So we know that margarine is not a food that we want to really, include in our diet. I would just use butter as opposed to margarine. Margarine is like all sort of trans fats. It's not going to be a good oil or fat product for you to consume in the body. Same with syrups, different types of syrups. These are not going to be good sugar or good natural sweeteners to include in the body. So not everything that you'll see here am I a supporter of, but this is just for your information. But the focus is more alkaline forming foods, less acid forming foods. So let's go back up to food combining. So just as important as what you eat is how and when you eat it, okay? So this chart more so focuses on how you eat it, how you combine your foods so that it can get digested properly. So we know that most of us have been raised and we feel or think and have been trained to think that proteins and starches go together. Meat and potatoes, chicken and rice, fish and rice, steak and potatoes. This is a poor combination for good digestion. Proteins we know are considered meat, fish, nuts, soybeans, soy products, sprouted beans, and things of that nature, right? We know that starches are considered to be grains, dry beans and peas, peanuts, chickpeas, potatoes, sprouted chickpeas, winter squash, or the different root vegetables in the squash family. These are starches. This combination with the other, not a good match. If we are eating proteins, we should be combining it with vegetables. Vegetables are things like your leafy greens, your asparagus, your cucumbers, your sweet peppers, your summer squash, turnips, carrots, sweet corn, fresh peas, watercress, radishes, Jerusalem artichokes, beets. These are all vegetables. It's best to combine proteins with your vegetables. Or if you want starches, combine your starches with these vegetables. Even different fruits should not be eaten with everything. We know that fruits are good for us, but we still, again, can't and shouldn't eat it with everything. So we would not combine vegetables with fruit. Now, that is going to be a big issue for most people because nowadays, especially here in America and maybe other parts of the world, everyone, and I don't know if it's eased up any, but definitely some years back, the world, it seemed, became obsessed with smoothies, right? Where you just put all these different fruits and vegetables in a blender and you drink it and that's your meal. And you have people that are just throwing any and everything in there together. That is not how I was trained. That was not how I learned. And as you see here in this chart, it is not the best combination for proper digestion. So you wouldn't add whatever fruit in with your spinach and with your kale and with your leafy greens. This is a poor combination, right? So whatever fruit we're talking about, whether it's acidic fruits, whether it's subacidic fruits, whether it's sweet fruits, these do not mix well with vegetables. So now let's skip past, I got a couple more minutes. I want to skip down to food colors and dyes, right? So again, it's important what we eat, how we eat it, and when we eat it. So in terms of the what not to eat, is we really want to discriminate against food colors. We know that all these different dyes lead to different types of conditions. I will not go through each one of them, but just know that if your salmon is bright, almost red or dark pink, know that food coloring has been added to, right? And that's not natural. And those of us that are from near the water or different parts on the continent where fishing is the main industry, you would know or should know that certain fish weren't always there, and certain fish, when you pull it out of the ocean, doesn't look a certain color. We have to go back to what we know is right and what looks right and what, you know, makes sense. We know that even pickles or relish or things that we get in the jar, we know are not these bright green colors. If you've ever gardened or you've seen what an actual cucumber looks like, then you should not expect that pickle relish or a dill pickle should be this really strong green color. That's not what cucumber actually looks like, especially after it's been, you know, grown and cut up and made into relish and pickles and things of that nature. Or even, you know, our other foods that may have some tint to a certain color, to a certain degree, we know that it shouldn't be these bright colors. So you have to suspect and always read labels to see if they've added any of these dyes or food colorings into them. If so, avoid them. Seek out products that do not have any of those artificial colors in them. You want foods that are dyed with natural things. So if you see it says colored with beets or turmeric, some of the other ones are escaping me now, but there are certain foods that they will use to naturally dye a food with. But these blue number colors, these are not what you want. And then hydrating foods, this is our last thing here. These are just, you know, if you're having trouble taking in enough water, try to include these foods into your diet so that you are at least getting foods that are predominantly water. Water is essential. It is the key to life. It cleanses, it heals, it purifies. So it's absolutely necessary. We cannot skip over it. So I will have a little bit of time. I can go through, it may be a few comments or questions here for me. Use this diet check questionnaire to see how well you're doing with your diet. And if you see there's some need for improvements, just start making those improvements bit by bit, okay? So thank you for joining us today. I'll see you back next week. And as always, I bid you good health and peace.
Thank you so much, Nana Akua. I'll see you next week as we go forward with the healthcare lecture. And again, thank you for those who joined the healthcare lecture until the end. And now, without wasting time, we're moving on to our Pan-African History and Organizing class with Dr. Tyreen Wright. Yes, Dr. Wright, welcome to the lecture.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, and I think you can see me now, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right, welcome everyone. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, that's a question for no, cool. Okay, welcome everyone. So I don't know, you might see, it might look a little different because I had to break down and use my computer. I always like to use my phone when I'm teaching this. But I'm on my computer today, so welcome everyone. I have to first start out and say that I was remiss because one of my technical difficulties is that I always send everything via the phone. I'm overloaded, so I was able to load, and then everything I sent didn't go. So if you are in the actual, if you're actually registered for this course, you will see in the WhatsApp group that I loaded the film that you were supposed to watch along with the syllabus. And so you can peruse that. But what we're going to do today is that I'm going to cover a bit of that, because what I would have done anyway is recap a portion of that. And the purpose of me sharing that film, The Journey of Man, A Genetic Odyssey, is because I think I mentioned last week that I use it for all of my academic courses and thought, why am I not using this for the Pan-Africanist History and Organizing course? And the purpose is to center the conversation of humanity in Africa first and foremost, okay? And so The Journey of Man, we don't know everything. Saying he is the geneticist that is conducting the DNA research and moving around the earth, testing various groups to establish the migratory patterns of humanity. We're not adopting everything he's saying. He is just qualifying this theory that is an age-old theory that humanity originated in Africa and then migrated to the four corners of the world. Therefore, to be human, as a friend of mine says, therefore, to be human means to be African first and foremost, right? So we want to establish that in a scientific way. Then the point of it all is that we can move to the understanding that to be Black, as Dr. John Henrik Clarke says, tells us how we look, right? Because that's a racialized construct that came about as a result of Europeans coming out into the world about 400 to 500 years ago. But Black doesn't tell you who you are, right? So that's where African comes in at, culture. And we're going to talk a little bit about culture in terms of this course and the expressions of Pan-Africanism when we get to people like Amilcar Cabral and others who respect and understand the significance of culture in light of our condition and having been colonized, right? He talks about, Amilcar Cabral in particular talks about history as a weapon and culture as a tool of liberation. So those are some of the reasons why I use this film. I have great criticism of Spencer Wells, really. However, on the DNA level, the science is good, right? He has to come to terms, like everyone else you will see in this document, will have to come to terms with the fact that to be human means to be African, and everybody else needs to explain themselves. All right, the Homo sapiens sapien, the modern human, is definitively African. Okay, so that's what this particular film establishes, and you get to see some of the attitudes as he goes from group to group, and shares the science with them. And he's not always as progressive as I think he should be in understanding people's origin stories and respecting those. He will say certain things like call them myths. But we are utilizing this for one particular purpose, and that is just simply to look at the hard science around the DNA mapping and establishing the fact that humanity is African, right? And so we want to start there with the conversation, because who has more right than the human beings on this earth to live free of racism, xenophobia, and all forms of negation, right? Okay. So then the other thing, so I'm going to share a clip from that actually, for the purpose of just driving home the point that humanity is in fact African. So I'm going to start with a little clip. I'm going to share my screen if I can do this. I've gotten away from using my computer for this, so it's funny because I'm always on my phone fooling around with all this stuff. So, okay, 1 second. Let me make this bigger. And I've already got it queued. So this portion of the film simply shares the fact that, hold on, let me do this. Okay. Okay. So this portion of the film simply shares the first half of the journey that he makes, where he encounters the Khoisan people. And he is talking to them. The Khoisan are, you know, the inhabitants of Southwest Africa, okay, present day Namibia. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Hold on 1 second. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see, did I do it right? No, hold on. I'm 1 second. I want to do this and do that. Okay. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if I can do this properly. Okay. Why won't it let me do it? Okay, here we go. Perfect. Okay. Perfect. So I'm going to share. And please let me know if you can hear it in terms of sound and everything. So here we go.
There is no sound. Sorry, Dr. Wright, there is no sound for this video.
Okay, hold on. What did you say?
We can't hear anything from the
Oh,
video.
you couldn't hear. Okay, hold on. Uh-oh. All right, now you have to educate me. You missed all of that? Oh, all right. I have to figure out how to do this now. One. You couldn't hear it, you said. All right, let me see. How do I do this?
Maybe you can check the volume of your computer, not the
Okay.
video.
Oh, yeah, it's all the way up. Could you ever hear it, or did you stop hearing it when I took myself off camera?
No, from the beginning, we didn't hear anything.
From the beginning, you didn't hear it. Okay. Let me see. All right. I'm trying to figure out. All right, so you know what I'm going to do? Okay. I'll do it this way. Hold on a second. I'm going to come in again. I'm going to log in again. You're going to see me log in again. And without video. So give me 1 second, and I'm going to share from here. Hold on. Okay. Did you admit me? You admitted me, right? Do you see me, Yvonne? That I just came in again?
Yes, I can see you.
Okay, perfect. Got it. Okay, so you see that person, me, for the second time. You're gonna give me permission to share, and I'm gonna share from a device.
Yes, you have the permission.
It doesn't say that over here. It's not giving me more. Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah. All right, 1 second. Let me close this. Okay. Okay. All right.
Everything predicted in their blood seems to be written in their faces. It's like looking at a composite model of every face from around the world. The eye.
Now we can hear you.
I just want to tell you a little bit about why I've come here. It's mostly to find out about your way of life. I'm really excited to be here. You know, it's such a dream for me to get to meet the San people, the Bushmen. In a way, you carry a secret in your blood, and you can think about it like a family tree.
I explained the tree was just like the family that we all belong to. My family line is one of the small fractured branches at the very top, while theirs is the oldest on Earth, the biggest branch at the base of the trunk. I get the feeling I'm not explaining this at all well, but they're way too polite to say so. This is really quite embarrassing.
So it's a great privilege for me to come and meet my distant relatives and the people who give us a glimpse of all of our ancestors. So in one sense, we're all Khoisan. We're all San people. It's just that my skin is slightly redder.
We would like to thank you for the information that you brought for us.
This is like a dream for me. Everything predicted in their blood seems to be written in their faces. It's like looking at a composite model of every face from around the world. The eye shape of East Asians, the high cheekbones of Mongolians, the mid-brown skin that could turn darker or lighter. So how do I know that of all the people on Earth, the San are direct descendants of our oldest ancestors? I'll try to explain a little better this time. I work with DNA, our very own manual of life. It's in our blood, in every cell of our body, orchestrating our life processes. DNA is a ladder of just 4 linked molecules, A, C, G, and T, strung together in pairs in an incredibly long and complex sequence. If laid out, the DNA from one person would stretch to the moon and back 3,000 times. In our cells, this chain is broken into 46 bundles called chromosomes. Because of its sheer length, DNA is prone to develop small glitches in its sequence. They're called mutations. Everybody has them. When they occur, we pass them on to our children. We call these inherited mutations markers. As our chromosomes pass down through the generations, they carry these markers with them. They write our history. They are the source of our time machine, the way we can see back to our earliest ancestors. The markers I follow are found only in men, on their Y chromosome, the chromosome that makes men men. But of course, men don't travel alone, and the journey of man is the journey of everyone.
I was walking through the village and I saw that they had massive piles of these sitting around everywhere. We call them monkey oranges. And they taste pretty good. They're a little bit like papayas. But I thought it would be a good idea to use them to explain exactly what we mean when we say we're following genetic markers. This is a man at some point in the past. The thing that makes him a man is his Y chromosome, a piece of DNA that's unique to men. When men have sons, they pass on their Y chromosome to those sons. Again, it's what makes them sons. So if we imagine that this man had two sons, they would have essentially identical DNA on the Y chromosome to their father. So they would get his Y chromosome in effect. And if we imagine that they also have sons, those sons, the grandsons of this very first man, would also have essentially the same DNA. But occasionally, when we pass on these pieces of DNA, we get a change in a single letter in the sequence. We can call those mutations or markers, and that's what allows geneticists to trace descent. Now, I've represented this marker with a little strip of tape, a little black bar. And just like before, all of the sons of this particular man will have essentially the same Y chromosome, so they will inherit this marker. And in that way, the marker acts effectively as a badge of descent, a marker of descent from this particular man, and that's what we follow. Now, as we move further down the tree, most of the sons will inherit just that single bar, but occasionally, as we saw before, we will get a second change in the Y chromosome. A second marker appears, showing descent from a particular man, in this case this person, who has first that marker, which came from that person back there, but an additional unique change on his Y chromosome, which he then passes on to all of his descendants. So in the people that we're talking about living in the present day, in this part of the tree, they've got two markers. They clearly trace their descent from this man, but the first marker, remember, arose all the way back there, all those generations ago.
The San Bushman markers are quite unlike any others found outside of Africa. In the world's family tree, their branch is the first to split from the rest. That's how I know they must be the oldest tribe on Earth. And now I'm here with them, looking for clues to find out why their ancient brothers and sisters left this place. The first thing I noticed was their incredible language. They speak with clicks and other sounds totally alien to me.
And the word for zero? Kora.
They try to teach it to me.
And for two? Ta. And three? Lani. And four? Go. I can't get that for you.
Is this strange language a window on the past? Did our ancestors speak like them? Merritt Rulin, a linguist from my old university, Stanford.
Bushman is the only family which has clicks. Those kinds of sounds. None of the other world's language families have these sounds. So this is really what makes Bushman languages different from all of the other world's languages. There's a reasonable hypothesis that these clicks are in fact ancestral sounds which have been lost in all of the other world's languages, probably lost just once in Africa. And then the group which lost these clicks left Africa and spread throughout the entire world.
When I ask another
Sorry, Dr. Wright, we can't hear you.
All right, so can you all hear me?
Yes.
If you see I'm in two different windows here. All right, so this is weird, but anyway, we'll go with it. So if you're in here, you'll see I'm in one window, and then the other one, I have myself just with the picture. So does everybody see me right here, waving? Okay, so essentially the point of it all is just to establish that the journey of man begins in Africa, and we want to center the conversation around humanity being African, okay? So you can watch the rest of the film. The other document preparing the first chapter of our reading, which is going to be in a case that involves Booker T. Washington. The history of Pan-Africanism as it emerges from the diaspora, right? So that'll be the first thing we read, and it is a chapter. But I plan changing things up a little bit this time. You guys are a significant class, the 21st cycle. So we're going to do it a little bit different. And so I probably will be making edits to the syllabus, but it is there in the course already, along with the film. And the film link is also embedded in the syllabus as well. Okay, so you can ask any questions about that. But I look forward to really engaging this week, since I'm too on top of it. I'm on both. I'm on my computer and I'm on the device. So
Sorry, Dr. Reed.
yes.
You are not audible enough. Like the sound is not good.
My sound is not good. Okay, so I'm gonna take myself off of one. I'm gonna take it off the computer. Okay. So let me come out. I'm gonna leave one here. Now, is that better?
Yes.
That's better? Okay, great. So what I said, I'll repeat all of that over. One, watch the film. Watch the film. Two, the use of the film is for us to understand not just that humanity is African, but part of what we're going to be talking about and exploring is just what we face in the world, right, as African people, because you will see as Spencer Wells takes that journey around the world, you will see that various groups have a lot of different attitudes towards the idea of being Black and the idea of being African, right? And these are some of the contemporary attitudes we have to contend with in the world that manifest as racism, that manifest as white supremacy and culture, okay? So you will see him go into, India, Australia, up into Asia versus, various parts of Asia, further west, into Eastern Europe, and then into the Americas, even having the opportunity to speak with the Navajo, and you will see their attitudes about the idea that they are African in origin, okay? And present day society, this is manifested as racism. So, enjoy it, but I stress that you need to get to the end of that documentary in order to get the full gist of it, because there is a very interesting announcement at the end by all the participants in terms of their identity. Okay. The other thing is that I posted the syllabus, reposted the syllabus. It didn't properly post the first time. However, it is there. This film is embedded in the syllabus, so you can click on the link in the syllabus, or you can click on the link that I've posted in the WhatsApp group, and it'll bring you to the film itself. And then I will be posting the first chapter that we'll be reading together on Pan-Africanism, which recalls the history of Pan-Africanism as it is born out of the diaspora first and then moves to the continent of Africa and has its highest expression. But I have a feeling that this time, once we read that chapter, I'm going to switch it up and go right to the continent and then go back. Okay, so stay tuned. Please do watch the film. It is, the film is about raising all ships and bringing us all to the same level in terms of understanding that to be human means to be African, okay? So, you know, first and foremost, Black tells you how you look, but African tells us who you are, right? And that's Dr. John Henry Clark. I can't steal his words, but I definitely repeat it. So, that is the purpose of that particular film, okay? I think I'm out of time. And so I'm from one of the few times I'm ending on time. I have 2 more minutes. Any questions, comments, or anything like that? Yeah, I had a technical problem. I've been having those. Okay, thank you, everyone. My audio is not good. So I hope, I think I repeated everything. Good day, my brothers, sisters, everyone. Okay, hello, Brother Bakar. I think it's brother. Okay, exactly. And somebody said my peoples. Yes, right. The Khoisan people. And if you notice, you know, so some of the materials I use while we're using them, I'll make some critical analysis and critique of it. For example, if you notice that Spencer Wells, he made the comment that we're all Khoisan, but earlier on he used the term tribe. And I know that sometimes we use this term tribe, but it's not the word we should use, right? Let's look at some of the pre-colonial terms that we use to describe ourselves in our in terms of group and culture. And ethnicity is viable, nation is viable, right? Kingdom is viable, right? But tribe is a term that comes out of the European cultural experience. And then when they come to Africa, they impose this word on us, tribe. Okay, it's not a word that comes out of the African experience. It has more been imposed on us, even just like the concept of race has been imposed on us. So he knows that they are Khoisan, but he chooses to call them things like tribe, you know, or Bushman, which once again, Bushman, the term is not a term that originates in Africa, but from outside of Africa, right? Because it's saying they're Bushmen, people who live in the bush. So, you know, if we are going to be correct in the context of our own culture, we have to know what is authentically ours and what is someone else's, right? And those are 2 things. So you hear him say that, and I'm critical of it because for him to use so many different terms to address the Khoisan people says he knows who they are, but he still insists on calling them something else, right? And how often do you answer to a name that's not yours? I never answer to names that are not mine, right? So I'm just pointing that out. But we are being utilitarian in our use of this film. We are using it only for the science, and all else involved in it, we are critical of it. And we're free to criticize it, and we will. So that'll be part of our discourse. Okay. Yes. Somebody had one more comment. I wish the whole world knew they come from Africa. Me too. I thought it was funny when he said his complexion is red. Right. Yeah, he is more pink pale than red. Exactly. More like absence of melanin than, you know, he's redder. I don't know like what that's supposed to mean. But yeah. And notice, you know, for those of you who are apt to delve even further into this, notice that once you watch it, he's not going to go into Europe, Western Europe. And there's a reason for that, because he knows that Western Europeans are not responsible for any portion of the world's population except for that small group, right? And they are a small group of people who are very young, about 7,000 to 8,000 years old, when African people are in fact 200,000 to 300,000 years old. Okay, so the African person originating in Africa is estimated to be around 200,000 to 300,000 years old. If you don't know what that means in terms of years, think about it in terms of money. What is it like to have $200,000 or $300,000 or whatever your currency is, right? Versus having only 7,000 or 8,000, and that's the timeline for Europeans. By their own science, they're saying that they have only been in existence for 7,000 to 8,000 years. Okay, so a minute in historical terms, I'm a historian, in historical terms, 7,000 or 8,000 years is like yesterday. 200,000 to 300,000 years has been the predominant of the time that humanity has resided on the earth, and it has been us African people. And so we need to establish, standardize, socialize a certain level of knowledge here and understanding that humanity does not mean European or even Asian or even Native American. It means African first. Okay. All right. So I'll leave it there. Please watch the film in its entirety. Look over the syllabus again, and I'll be posting the first chapter that we read together on Pan-Africanism, which revisits the history of Pan-Africanism as it emerges for the first time in the world. Okay. All right, folks. Thank you so much. Staying the whole entire time, getting to the end, to the Pan-African history and organizing course. And I hope to see you next week. And I look forward to seeing you in the WhatsApp group. Okay. Peace. I am because we are.
Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Wright, for wonderful work.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.